Dear viewers, today we are going to see the topic Hiroshima. This is a famous topic which has been included for 12th standard students in their 6th lesson. Now, what happened in Hiroshima? Hiroshima is an industrial town in Japan. And on this town, on 6th August 1945, an atom bomb was dropped. And that is the time the Second World War was going on. Now, during the Second World War, the whole world was divided into two groups, the Allies and the Axis. The Allies were having democracy as their principle of ruling, and Axis powers were ruled by the dictators, the famous dictators like Hitler, Mussolini. And because of their principle of governance, there was a warring group. And here we see a Pearl Harbor. That is the incident in which America joined the war with the Allies. Allies were Britain, France, and America. Now, during the Second World War, Hitler faced defeat and Mussolini also, and both of them died. But the war in Japanese front with the dictator was proceeding and unending. People were getting killed day after day. So the American side, they decided to drop an atom bomb. And because of their decision, an atom bomb was dropped on 6th August 1945. Now, the symbol of the atomization looks like a mushroom-like crowd, and that is a picture that stays in the mind of people, and a picture that horrified the millions of people who witnessed it. Now, we are going to see what is the situation that brought about the dropping of the atom bomb, then how the atomization was made, and finally dropping of the bomb. Now we are going to see the situation that led to the dropping of the atom bomb. Now, the invention of the cruel bomb. The atom bomb was invented and it was dropped. And Einstein, the greatest scientist of nuclear physics, he was the one who was in charge of preparing the bomb in Mexico, Los Alamos, and he finally achieved the chain reaction with uranium-235. And because of the invention of the cruel bomb, it was made known to America, Britain, and France that the bomb was ready for dropping. And the war in the East, this second topic that we think of. The war in the West came to an end because Hitler and Mussolini died because of the loss that they underwent during the scorched earth policy adopted by Russians. Many of their troops were lost in Russian war. Therefore, because of that setback, they committed suicide. And as a result of it, the war in the West, that is in European country, came to an end. But in the East, Japanese were very victorious and they were coming forward to face the Allies. And because of the proceeding of the war in the East, it compelled them to drop this bomb. Now, the debate, that is, whether to drop the bomb or not, was a decision, very painful decision to be made, and it was given to three people. The reason is President Truman, who succeeded Roosevelt, who was a very great American president because he died when the decision was about to be taken. And in England, Prime Minister Churchill was put down due to the defeat in the voting period, and because of it, he lost his prime minister post there. The Labour Party person, Clement Attlee, he came to power. And same way, Marshal Chiang Kai-shek is actually a Democratic Party leader of China, who was also part of this three-member team which took the decision. And as a decision, these two politicians were new to the worldwide politics, and because China faced defeat in the hands of Japan, Chiang Kai-shek was motivating them to take revenge. And this is the situation that forced them to make the decision of dropping of the bomb. Even to say, Chiang Kai-shek said they wanted it, let them have it, and hell with it. That is the last phrase that they made before the decision was made about dropping of the bomb. Now we shall proceed to see how the atomization took place. Now we are going to see the third subtopic, atomization. Now, the first point is from where the aircraft took place. The aircraft took off from Tinian Marina Island. This is the place they have been getting ready to go. And they used 7 Boeing Super Fortress for this operation, of which 3 carried people who will go and study the weather, and 2 were instruments, and the real plane that was used was B-29. And there was another B-29 always getting ready if the original B-29 Boeing failed. Now, the pilot who took the plane was Colonel Paul W. Tibbett, an US Air Force pilot. And he took off the plane about 2:45 on 6 a.m., 6th August 1945. And he flew over Hiroshima on that fateful day, about 31,000 feet high. Actually, the warplanes of Hiroshima already did their regular practice of overseeing whether the foreign planes are there for attack, and they say all clear. They did not notice the flight that was on top 31 feet. Then, almost when their exercise was over, they found out and they tried to come up to their height of 31 feet to bombard their bombs. But Colonel Paul W. Tibbett easily bombed them and defeated them. And he dropped the bomb for 29 feet from the height of 31 feet, and just about 2,000 feet above Hiroshima, the bomb went off. That is, the bomb blasted. And it is something like an atomic eclipse. That is, the bright sun became duller, and the light of the explosion was brighter than the sunlight. And as a result, there was no sound, no thud, nothing. But soon after the bright light, there was a brownish purple cloud-like formation over Hiroshima, and it was mixed with human tissues, plant tissues, building material, and all became like invisible particles, and a brownish color mushroom was formed over the town, and this became a nightmarish image in the mind of people. And this is what we call the atomization in Hiroshima. Now, the fourth subtopic that we are going to see is aftermath. Now, this is the only incident in which the bomb did not produce any sound, and people were not even able to cry aloud and make their difficulty felt, whereas there was only a whimper, and that too, whimper of people who recovered from their onslaught. That is, little children were whimpering while their parents who were standing or sitting or above them were killed. In fact, to say they were changed, burnt or melted. And instantly 1,35,000 people were killed in this incident, which is equal to 279 warplane attack of that particular place. Only 279 warplanes of that particular Second World War planes can make such a killing of 1,35,000. And one instant, I think, will give us the biggest damage or the havoc done by the bomb. That is, for the Clint Sorge, who went 2 or 3 days after the atomization, when he was walking on the road, he could see somebody asking for water from the bush. And thinking that there was just one person, he took the water bottle, and went and took the hand of the person. And to his surprise, there were 20 army men who were guarding the city. The Japanese policemen, the army men were there. Now, all the 20 came from the bush. And it was a nightmarish image. That is, all their eye sockets were red in color, and the eyes have melted on their cheeks with just white background and a black round on the cheek. Imagine 20 people who were just guarding the city, who could see on top what happened, their eyes melted. Imagine others who would have got directly into the thing. They would have either be burnt or melted. They say there was 1,300 degrees Celsius heat produced because of the bursting of the bomb. And they say even tiles and bricks will melt in that heat. And not only that, about 2 or 3 kilometers away, that is, the radiation traveled 2 or 3 kilometers. And what happened to people who were away from that onslaught? They were permanently sterilized. That is, women who were pregnant were aborted and did not conceive. Men who were there within this 2 or 3 kilometers, they become sterilized. They couldn't give birth. Same way, people whose gums were bleeding and their old wounds were reopened. And they say people who were on the river side, their flesh was melting and falling down into the river because the radiation entered the seawater. Now, all this happened, and they say their blood counts, that is RBC and WBC, which is supposed to be with 20,000 with everyone, came down to 5,000 and 3,000. They say even for the Clint Sorge who went to help them, suffered from this disease of suffering from problem of RBC coming down to just 5,000 and 3,000. And this is the effect of the aftermath. That is what the bomb caused to people there. And uranium 235 was used here, whereas in the next attack, what they did in Nagasaki, a greater bomb, plutonium was used. And imagine how the onslaught of Nagasaki would have been. And what is the, only benefit of the atomization is people began to understand the energy, that is the heat or the destructive nature of the bomb. And because of that, they began to harness, that is control that energy, and they use for useful benefits. And the useful benefit we can say today is the atomic power stations that we have built. And we can definitely say it was a black day in the history of human beings and the biggest blunder ever made. And nobody can forgive this incident. And it is an incident that has to teach every one of us that we should shirk war. We should never encourage war against nations. Thank you.
இந்த வீடியோ பிடிச்சிருந்துச்சுன்னா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, மறக்காம எல்லாத்துக்கும் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க. அப்புறம் எங்க சேனல்ல வர ஒவ்வொரு வீடியோவும் உங்களுக்கு அப்டேட்ஸா வரணும்னா மறக்காம சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணிடுங்க. அப்புறம் அதுக்கு பக்கத்துல இருக்கிற பெல் ஐக்கானை பிரஸ் பண்ணுங்க. இது மூலியமா நாங்க போடுற ஒவ்வொரு வீடியோஸும் உங்களுக்கு உடனுக்குடன் கிடைக்கும்.